Namaskar, welcome to Inside Tonight with Ashok. Vyas. Today we are talking about India in the context of dreams and how education helps us in fulfilling our dreams. But first of all, what kind of dreams we have is also dependent on the kind of education and exposure that we have had. There's been a lot of discussions about India having sidelined some of the significant features of Indian cultural traditions, and that goes on. But right now, as we celebrate the arrival of new building of Indian Parliament, and also there is a reference of Sangol. We will share what it is, but we will also share how new generation has new aspirations, and there is no limitation in terms of the geographical limitations as well as of how big one can dream. And in that context, we have the pleasure of someone who is taking care of dreams of others by being international education consultant. So let me first welcome Nivedita Kalla. Namaste, Nivedita.
Namaste.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for being with us. And also Rajendra ji, thanks for joining us. Namaste.
Thank you very much.
So we'll come to them, but before we start our talk about how education has become a different ball game than what it used to be at the time when Rajendra ji and I were students in school, and now what Nivedita is bringing to the table for other aspirants. Let us celebrate the arrival of new building of Indian Parliament and just connect with one symbol which connects with India's history as well as India's culture. What is Sangol? I find this word very, very catchy and kind of appealing. So before we learn about Sangol from the Parliament itself, which was installed on 28th May, Nivedita, did you hear about Sangol anytime earlier?
No, I've not heard about it.
And Rajendra, you?
No, we were not aware. But just thematically, we understood that when earlier Parliament was in procession, some issues about Sangol also came, and after that it dies down.
Wonderful. So let's hear from the video that has come to us thanks to Modi channel and learn a little bit about what Sangol is.
साथियों, आज इस ऐतिहासिक अवसर पर कुछ देर पहले संसद की इस नई इमारत में पवित्र सेंगोल की भी स्थापना हुई है। महान चोल साम्राज्य में सेंगोल को कर्तव्य पथ का, सेवा पथ का, राष्ट्र पथ का प्रतीक माना जाता था। राजा जी और आदीनम के संतों के मार्गदर्शन में यही सेंगोल सत्ता के हस्तांतरण का प्रतीक बना था। तमिलनाडु से विशेष तौर पर आए हुए आदीनम के संत आज सुबह संसद भवन में हमें आशीर्वाद देने उपस्थित हुए थे। मैं उन्हें पुनः श्रद्धापूर्वक नमन करता हूं। उनके ही मार्गदर्शन में लोकसभा में ये पवित्र सेंगोल स्थापित हुआ है। पिछले दिनों मीडिया में इसके इतिहास से जुड़ी बहुत सारी जानकारी उजागर हुई है। मैं इसके विस्तार में नहीं जाना चाहता हूं, लेकिन मैं मानता हूं ये हमारा सौभाग्य है कि इस पवित्र सेंगोल को हम उसकी गरिमा लौटा सके हैं, उसकी मान मर्यादा लौटा सके हैं। जब भी इस संसद भवन में कार्यवाही शुरू होगी, ये सेंगोल हम सभी को प्रेरणा देता रहेगा। साथियों,
Sangol, and I connect with the loosely how culture is defined. Because someone, a scholar said that culture is collective memory in our consciousness of collective victory. So that way, the cultural history becomes important, and then Sangol also has its place. So before we come to Nivedita and learn more about the education side, Rajendra ji, how significant you feel having awareness of our history and our culture is, and allow me to add, being an engineer, I think history had no significant space in terms of what you were learning as far as while you were a student is concerned. Is that right?
Oh, in the history, what do you mean to say? I could not got it.
History of the nation had no important place as far as a student of engineering is concerned.
Very correct. Actually, in engineering, we just come in and get into the studies for civil engineering, electrical, mechanical, well away from what the historical backgrounds were. Although when we move around and see the history behind, we see most of the things has already been examined, corrected, and made accordingly. If you see the civilization of Indus Valley civilization or whatever the Nalanda old colleges, they were beautifully designed, big library halls, which nowadays all universities are going to have, or big cities have, that were all planned and well developed. So if one goes with the history and studies that, it will be comfortable to learn further. Otherwise, every time you have to invent a zero, invent a wheel again and again. So history has a very good role to play in development of any study, whether it be engineering, literature, or any other part, I can say.
Absolutely. So now, Nivedita, you as international education consultant
Yes.
have interacted with many students. So this is the young mind that we are looking at with your help. When you learn about their dreams, how education plays its role in terms of the way they look forward to their future role.
So, education for them, when I interact with the students, it's not the goal in itself. It is a milestone towards a greater dream that they may have. That's the big sort of change that I have come to see in the past 6 years as well, that I've been working with my students. I used to think, at least even when I went to college, my thinking stopped at I'll get a BA, I'll get a BSc, I'll get a, whatever degree. Now the students are not really limiting themselves to the thought process of a degree. They want something bigger. The degree is just part of their dream. It is a milestone. It's not the destination.
When she says something bigger, Rajendra, if I remember it correctly, in my days, there were two options. If you are a good student, you become a doctor or an engineer. So the question of dreams or the ability to independently pay attention to what I actually want, probably it was less than what it is now.
Very correct. Earlier, only the options people were having, either be doctor or an engineer, otherwise you are nowhere. Either you become Babu or become a Sabu. So, but nowadays, the vast field, whether you be in literature, music, craft, industry of architectures, industry of any damn thing you think about, even medical profession, they were limited earlier, a physician. Now a specialization down to the nail to the top of a hair has come up. Every area has developed in vastness. Just like if you see today, earlier we started with a big telephone, which was a landline phone. Then immediately our generations saw the pager, and then we come with the big mobile phones, which are very difficult to handle. Now they are only pocket small. We have all the people are having. So the technology has changed, and studies have created new venues for the students to develop future, which were never ever imagined earlier. Earlier things were very simple. रोड का इंजीनियर बन गया या मैकेनिकल इंजीनियरिंग कर लिया, दैट्स ऑल. बट नाउ द थिंग्स आर वेरी डिफरेंट.
अभी मैं आपको एग्जांपल देती हूँ. मैं स्कूल के बच्चों के साथ इंटरेक्ट करती हूँ. मैं मेयो कॉलेज अजमेर भी गई थी. नेक्स्ट स्कूल इज़ अ वेरी न्यू एज स्कूल इन मुंबई. वहाँ पे मैं गई. एक बच्चा कहता है मैं स्पोर्ट्स मैनेजमेंट करूँगा क्योंकि मेरे को स्पोर्ट्स मैनेजर बनना है. और ये बातें टीचर्स के समझ में नहीं आती. सम टीचर्स जो ओल्डर जनरेशन है, लेकिन उस बच्चे के दिमाग में काफ़ी क्लियर है. एंड वो ऐसे विम और फैंसी पे नहीं बोल रहा है. उसने पूरी रिसर्च करी है, उसने पूरा अपना यूट्यूब पे देखा है, बकायदा उसने अपने लिए इंटर्नशिप रेडी रखी है.
क्या बात है, क्या बात है. सो निवेदिता, लेट मी कम बैक टू यू. I'll just have Rajendra, and very soon we'll be celebrating Father's Day, and fortunately we have a duo father-daughter, and we were restricted in exploring the adventurous spirit because of the financial resources, plus there was some inhibition in parents most of the time. But I would compliment Rajendra ji, and then we'll go to Nivedita also, to let her pursue her passion to explore the world literally. So right after college, or maybe during college, or she traveled across many countries. So as a father, what were your thoughts when you gave her the permission that go whatever she proposed?
No, very simple. I was thinking that, have you seen the movie Dil Wale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge? That apni zindagi ji le. So now our kids should move all around the world and see what different aspects have and face the problems as it is, rather than holding their hands and then blaming or not blaming them. They will learn by their own mistakes. And I will tell you, Nivedita was first in our family to go abroad alone all around the world. She traveled to the Europe. But that helped us that my next kid was beautifully designed, and I can say planned.
He will not give credit to her that much. I think. He will not give her that much credit.
No, he will have to.
Okay. But
actually, to be very frank, that exposure of her helped my wife to develop the area and logistics, although kids do their own. But it added to the qualifications.
Let us learn from you, Nivedita. Were you not scared to dream to go to all these European countries on your own? And talk to us about what helped you in planning where to go, and what did you explore? Very brief, actually. Long question, but brief.
I wasn't scared, first of all. I felt ये तो करना ही है. ये एक सीखने का ज़रिया है. एंड फॉर मी इट वाज, दिमाग में आया ही नहीं कि ये कोई नई चीज़ मैं कर रही हूँ या फिर कुछ रैडिकली डिफरेंट कुछ मैं कर रही हूँ. मेरे को लगा कि हाँ, देखने की जगह है, देखना चाहिए.
वीज़ा लेना, दिल्ली में बैठ के कितनी कंट्रीज में गए?
मैं यूके में थी उस टाइम पे जब मैंने वीज़ाज़ वगैरह लिए. मैंने देखा कि मेरे पास बजट था. मैंने बोला कि मेरे 1000 पाउंड का मैंने बजट बनाया पहले. आई डिडंट स्टार्ट विद कंट्रीज फर्स्ट, आई स्टार्टेड विद बजट. उसमें भी मैंने पापा से ज़्यादा कंसल्ट नहीं किया. मैंने अपने हिसाब से अपना देख ताक के बजट बना दिया, क्योंकि मैं 17 ईयर्स से अकेले वहाँ पे थी. तो आई सेड ओके. फिर वहाँ से मैंने बैक कैलकुलेट करा कि मैं कितनी कंट्रीज ट्रैवल कर सकती हूँ. हॉस्टल से, बस से, ट्रेन से, वेयर एवर आई कैन सेव द मनी एंड ऑप्टिमाइज द ट्रैवल. जब पैसे खत्म हो जाएंगे, I'll come back and I'll move on. But so that was the idea that I had.
So how many countries you visited?
Around 12 to 13 actually. If you include some transit, around 13 countries.
And what did that teach you?
It taught me a lot of self-confidence, because मेरे को aware खुद ही होना था. अगर if I feel a situation is not safe, I need to deal with it. सुबह 4 बजे भी आप किसी ट्रेन स्टेशन पे हो अकेले, आपको खुद उससे डील करना है. लैंग्वेज नहीं है, खाना नहीं है, यू हैव टू डील विद दैट. यू कैन नॉट जस्ट स्पेंड मनी लाइक दैट बिकॉज यू हैव टू ऑप्टिमाइज द ट्रैवल. अकेले लोगों से बात कैसे करना. मैं हॉस्टल्स में जब मैं रहती थी वहाँ पे, द ओनली वे टू डू थिंग्स इज़ बाय टॉकिंग टू पीपल. यू हैव टू टॉक टू पीपल. वो मैंने सीखा कि आप कैसे निडर होके आप लोगों से बात करो, क्योंकि वो भी तो आपके जैसे ही हैं. कोई लड़की ऑस्ट्रेलिया से अकेली आई है, कोई लड़की जापान से अकेली आई है, मैं इंडिया से अकेली आई हूँ. एंड आई डिडंट फील एनी डिफरेंट.
आई विल अगेन ब्रिंग दिस टू यू, राजेंद्र जी. क्या होता है कि बच्चे कहीं भी जाते हैं तो पेरेंट्स का जो है ना, हार्ट बीट्स ऐसे होते हैं, कैसे है, इज शी और ही इन ट्रबल एटसेट्रा. उस चीज़ को आप कैसे अपने अंदर काम बैलेंस रखते हैं?
To be very frank, we never thought about that. Never thought about it. We were confident if something wrong or something will happen, she will be able to do it. And not for a day, not for a second we ever thought for it. Because of the way luckily we were brought up, the kids were brought up in multi-level city like Delhi and Bombay. So they were confident, they were grown up at the age of 17 and understood whatever wrong or right. They were never been forced to do what that to have to do, what not have to do. So we were confident about it, and so no anxiety was there.
Yeah. So lot of clues for aspiring parents or those who are in that stage of their life where these are formative years for your teenagers, etc. So this approach helps. But nowadays we also find that parents have additional challenge by something which offers a lot of exposure. So internet, how they are handling internet, what smartphone is giving that. But we are not getting there. We are coming to the new way in which education needs additional understanding. So Nivedita, you did your course in London that was focused on environmental technology. Is
Yes.
that correct? Then why did you switch to becoming international education advisor, and what does it take? I mean, this I hear there are many people who are focusing on this path.
Yes. So actually, जब मैं वापस so I was working with a startup in Hong Kong. उस टाइम पे अर्पित का कॉलेज का चल रहा था. माई ब्रदर इज आई रियलाइज कि काफ़ी मिस इन्फॉर्मेशन है. देर इज़ अ लॉट ऑफ इन्फॉर्मेशन दैट इज़ नॉट अवेलेबल एंड आई सेड ये एक गैप है जो मैं पैशनेट हूँ. आई एम अ थर्ड जनरेशन इन एजुकेशन. माई ग्रैंड मदर वॉज अ टीचर, माई मदर वॉज अ प्रोफेसर एट शी रिटायर्ड. सो आई रियलाइज ये मेरा आई हैव समथिंग टू से हियर and I can tap into my personal experience to guide the students, not just the positive but also any negatives or anything that I did not work out the way I wanted it to work out. So I said I have something to add here. तो मेरे को लगा ये and education का जो link है with profession, that is weak in the sense that it is not like Papa's generation where Papa studied civil engineering, he became a civil engineer and he's now doing arbitration within civil engineering cases. For me, it's like I learned how to problem solve. हमने environmental technology, economics में पढ़ा, data science पढ़ा, statistics पढ़ा, problem solving पढ़ा, how लोगों से बात करना सीखा. वो सारी चीज़ें different fields में applicable है. So I learned how to do that, and I said, okay, this is applicable here. Of course, environment is something I'm passionate about. It's always going to be there, but just because I studied that does not mean it has to be my profession.
So that earlier Rajendra ji was almost unacceptable to parents that मैंने इतना पैसा किया खर्चा या you studied, you invested so much time and you don't pursue that, it's no. So that pressure used to be with many students. I mean, now looking at the reference of dreams, there are dreams which we have as individuals, there are dreams with which we bring our children, and many parents want to live their dreams through their kids, and that is where you have an interesting space where there is a tug of war. So there are some successful doctors I met. They said, no, I didn't want to become a doctor. My father wanted me. So now here he is, he's making money, he's doing good, but he's unhappy somewhere. So how do you see this situation, Rajendra? And this was your choice to become an engineer?
To be very frank, in our time, we don't have a choices. We have only subject. You take a maths or a biology or become a lawyer. Actually, at that time, what happened in our time, the peer group had a very good influence to which field you have to go. If your peer group is going towards medical field, then you like to go biology. So we were influenced by that, and accordingly, we shifted towards engineering. And the civil engineering, because everyone knows that civil engineering is a very vast subject, and it had a very good potential for the jobs. Actually, we were looking for the jobs industry around. So I personally feel that in our time, the things are very different from today's time. Today's probably people can do a medical job, medical graduation, and they are doing the business. My very good friends are doing share business, they are doing oil industry business, although they are doctors, or some engineers are doing a job of printing or packaging. So that confinement role has already gone. To be very frank, the graduation, whether you do in any course, it only develops your mind to settle with whatever the problems you will like to face, irrespective that you confine themselves to that small blockages which you have got, be an engineer, be a doctor. This is what I understood.
I think what you are saying reminds me a very cliched sentence that sky is the limit. But I think now sky is also not the limit because what way Nivedita is perceiving her role as international education advisor and the way she's connecting with students and helping them respect their dreams is something which was non-existent. As Rajendra ji was saying, either there were some peers, or if fortunately there is some teacher who knows and who recognizes your potential,
Yes.
he'll tell, beta, you should do this, then you do it. But what she is doing is different. And I think the way education system and the opportunities, that has also undergone a sea change. So talk to me about the current scenario, Nivedita, as far as education in Indian students is concerned.
So I'll give you a very funny analogy. I studied in UK. I'm married. My husband studied in IIT Roorkee. So first couple of times when I was meeting him, I said, "Why did you study chemical engineering?" He just started laughing. He said, "मेरा ये rank आया था, मुझे ये अच्छा institute में जाना था, and this is the field I was getting." And that was a very big, he didn't have a choice. He loves physics. He didn't have a choice to study physics. But today, if a child says, "I want to study physics," a lot of the times, especially in middle class, upper middle class families, they don't want to compromise on that. वो नहीं जाके.
Sorry to interrupt.
Sure.
Hold this thought. I'll come back to you. The reference of choice. How do you discover what is my choice? And how do you sustain that conviction that this was my choice? And because there are multiple ways of looking at the same scenario, Rajendra, and the same question will come to Nivedita. So, to have a strong conviction about your choice, is that something you're born with? How, or that can be developed? Because if you make a choice and tomorrow you are unhappy that I made a wrong choice, so that point also is relevant.
It happens a lot of time. It is not every time is perfect that whatever the choice you made, you are made for that. So actually, to be very fair, it's a probability chance that you have a choice that I want to become a football player. And if you go there and you feel like that, no, I don't have a stamina. So your choice doesn't work there. You have to have that type of a body. And similarly for the education, your mindset should also be so much developed that your choice can be taken up. Your choice can't be forced upon you. So my perception is the choice is a very vague term which we can tell people that 10th class student will have a choice to understand that he will become such and such fellow.
This is exactly the place where parents feel that, oh, he doesn't understand what I'm telling is the way. So now Nivedita, this, if you are as an international education advisor, you are dealing with the whole families together,
Yes.
then parents will feel that you are just increasing or adding fuel to the rebellious mindset of the child. And so you have to figure out a way that they are also convinced that they should respect the dream of the student.
I will cut it short, then she will reply. For her, it is very difficult to manage the parents.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
No, so I feel I sit in the middle. I understand the parents' point of view. I really do. I understand how difficult it is for them. I understand the child's point of view. And I basically become a third party because I'm not affiliated to any of the. So sometimes I have kids who will say something, but they're not very clear on it. They haven't done their research. Kids are using technology not just for playing games or wasting time. They're also using technology to understand, if they're really interested in a field. किसी बच्चे का नासा में इंटरेस्ट है, वो नासा के समर प्रोग्राम्स इंडिया में बैठे बैठे कर रहे हैं. पेरेंट्स को बता देते हैं कि हाँ हम ये प्रोग्राम कर रहे हैं. सो उससे बच्चे का आइडिया बनता है. बट इफ आई बिलीव दैट द चाइल्ड डज नॉट हैव डेप्थ, आई वर्क विद देम as they discover whether they want to move in A, B or C. I have students who will say हमको engineering में interest है. But when we get down to the root of it, maybe they're interested in physics, maybe they're interested in maths. And that's a process of discovery over 2 years when I work with them, and that's where I as an advisor come in. It is not done in an instant. ये लंबे exploration होती है 6 महीने. After every 6 months, we have a stock check. Where are we? Are we still interested in that? Are we still interested? Do you understand what you're doing? We do career explorations, all of those things. Parents are side by side you know, I think sometimes if the parents try to impose something, the kid, a lot of the times they try to reject that.
Yeah. So let
Yeah.
me seek
Yes.
input from a parent here, right, sitting near
Absolutely.
you.
Yeah.
So Rajendra, even in the case of son or daughter deciding to pursue certain career, which you don't know much about, and since you don't know, you kind of in your mind question, what advisor? I mean, we give advice to anybody who comes for free. So now here she's talking about becoming international education advisor and looking at it as a profession. So as a parent, if you are not understanding what she's doing, then you will try to dissuade her. Was there something like that?
To be very frank, nowadays what the Nivedita is doing, it is some role like a psychiatrist or a psychologist doing for the students to be very in a larger perception, because they need to understand the behavior of both parent and child vis-a-vis to their background. Not only that, you can wish for Ivy Leagues and something big, but they don't know what's the way to get in. It is not an IIT entrance exam that you appear in JEE and get a good rank and get into it in a last one day match. It is for getting into the good colleges of international repute, you need to develop from class 8th onward. You can't make it in the last 12th exam only or just MCQ question. So I personally feel that their role is very, very required and very important, because they understand the financial aspects also, because most of the parent doesn't know. They know that बस जाना है, कैसे जाना है, I will do it.
ना तो बेसिकली क्या है कि कोई भी स्पेशलाइज फील्ड में जैसे कुछ डिटेल्स होती हैं वो पता होना चाहिए, वो प्रोफेशनली बता सकता है, एक्सपर्ट ही बता सकता है. So ये एजुकेशन एडवाइस. बट लेट्स कम टू द ड्रॉ दैट अमेरिकन यूनिवर्सिटीज हैव फॉर इंडियन स्टूडेंट्स. व्हाई इट इज सस्टेन, दो बीच में ऐसा रहा कि यहाँ पे उनको H1 में प्रॉब्लम हो रही है या समटाइम्स द वीजा फीस इंक्रीज एटसेट्रा. But you see year after year the number of students who are aspiring to realize their American dream continues to grow. What is it?
Yeah, so I think एक चीज़ ये है कि they get to study plus explore. तो इंडिया के बच्चे का जो I think the difference between an 80s kid coming versus a 2020 kid coming, 2023 kid coming is the student wants to do research. They are very well aware, because at that time information flow was very slow. Now information is very fast. So they know I can come here, I can do research, I can put my hand up, I can talk to professors, I can counter the professors. They like that. They like the fact that if I want to explore mixed bag subjects, psychology with computer science, कर सकते हैं. ये इंटरेस्टिंग है उन लोगों के लिए. इंडिया में कुछ यूनिवर्सिटीज़ अभी ऑफर करना शुरू किया है, हर जगह नहीं है. That appeal is there. I think also we have to understand that India's risk-taking appetite has gone up. India is the third largest home of unicorns in the world, unicorn startups in the world. I think that is a proxy for risk, adventure and innovation.
So I think we'll have to stop somewhere here.
Absolutely.
Where we talk about importance of risk-taking. And I am reminded of my old days when I heard no risk, no gain. And in lighter vein, Rajendra ji, I used to say that that's why people get married, because I mean there's so much risk involved, but you don't gain. So as a parent as well as a son, so let us look at you as a son, and in 30 seconds, if you were to express your gratefulness for your father, what will you say?
Same, what I developed for the area around my children similarly was given by my parents. I was never been asked to get into that profession, what they wanted, which subject you want to go. Similarly, I don't see any change in that attitude. My parents had this more wider attitude than what we are having.
Yeah.
To be very frank.
I take 20 seconds to say that I was also fortunate. I wanted to get into All India Radio in the broadcasting. My father came up with some cutting that you apply here, and I got through that. But I wanted to be in the media, so that I think I have been lucky. And 20 seconds for you to say good thing about your father.
I would say the same thing. Like essentially, कभी रोका नहीं मेरे को किसी तरह से कुछ भी करने से. मैंने कोई crazy idea भी किया.
मुझे रवि रोक रहे हैं कि बात को यहाँ पर समाप्त किया जाए. But I think education helps us in dreaming But education alone is not enough. Dream has to come from within. That's what we, I think, take from Sangol to Rajendra ji to Nivedita ji, and we share that with you. Dream big. That helps you in beautifying your world as well as everybody is benefited. So may all of us dream big and realize our dreams. Once again, thank you with lots of good wishes, Nivedita.
New
Thank
India
you
is
so
that.
much.
Now New India is that.
New India. Yeah. So New India has risk taking appetite has increased. I like that. So thank you. Lots of good wishes. Namaste.